Hi, welcome back to Spider's Web. I'm still in England, and when last we talked, I was on my way out to the Caviar Bar at Harrods, and I went. Wow! I felt like I was Lady Edith on the town in Downton Abbey. It's all gold leaf and gorgeous, and it's like you're in an old movie, and we had caviar and champagne and smoked salmon, and it was just heaven. And then my friends took me out for an early birthday surprise, and I got to see 42nd Street at Drury Lane. Wow, what a fantastic production. And I was really blown away by Sheena Easton, like from the 80s, pop singer. She sounded great. She really can sing musical theater, and she was very funny. And I was blown away by the leading lady, a young actress named Claire Halse, and she can dance like a crazy person. So that was fabulous. And Drury Lane goes back to the 1800s. So they've got all these historical photographs in the lobby, and you see people like Mary Martin played there, and Camelot, the original Camelot, was there with Julie Andrews, and also pictures of Noel Coward performing there in the 20s. Pretty crazy stuff. So that was a blast, and I'm going to spend a little more time in London. Tonight, I am going out to the Scarves Bar at the Rosewood Hotel in London. It's owned by Gerald Scarfe, who is a famous cartoonist from London. He did a lot of album covers, and he was married to Jane Aston, who at one point was married to Paul McCartney. Boy, does that gal get around. But I'm going there tonight. We'll hear some live music and have some fabulous dry martinis with friends. And tomorrow I leave London to go out to the countryside. Ooh, I had to get up early today. I had a long night last night, and I got up early because I was taking a train trip out to a part of England that I've never been to before, Great Malvern. And my friend Marcel from the U.S. met up with me. He is here taking a tour of Europe, and we're going to visit a mutual friend of ours, an English gal who used to live in the U.S. but moved back to the U.K. and is married to an Englishman. And this train trip is just amazing. We left from Paddington Station this morning. We grabbed a couple of breakfast sandwiches, and the scenery is just over the moon. It's very hilly here. I would even say it looks mountainous. And we went up and had lunch at a pub called the Witch Inn. And I had the ploughman's lunch, which definitely was enough food to feed several ploughmen. I think I ate way too much of it. And we had beers, and there's lots of dogs here. Marcel was asking, if you do live in England, are you required to have a dog? I've never seen so many dogs out dining and dancing, drinking beer, smoking cigars. It's all so English. Well, anyway, we're having a beautiful time here, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of this gorgeous part of the country and take in some local color. So I'm here in Malvern having a wonderful time and visiting my English friends Helen and Mark. And Mark was telling me an interesting story that he was working in Detroit this past summer. And also I noticed there are pictures all over the house here of Mark as the fisherman. He's holding the likes of Moby Dick in many of these pictures. And while he was in Detroit, he met someone who lured him into a specialty fishing and hunting adventure outside of Detroit, and I hope Mark will share that story with us. Hi, Mark.
How you doing? Good. Yes, so I spent 10 weeks in Detroit, and we met a guy in the bar. His name was Casey, We got to know him, and we found we'd got common interests together. And he invited me and my colleague up to Sandusky for a fishing and hunting adventure. So we thought. So one Friday night after work, we left Detroit, and about 3 hours later, we ended up in Sandusky. And there was a small place, if any of you have ever been there. Not a lot going on. 2 motels, probably neither of them you'd wish to stay in. And unfortunately for us, both of them were full. And we couldn't get hold of KC because our US mobile phones wouldn't work. And he wouldn't pick up to my UK mobile phone. Probably because he didn't recognise the number, too scared, might cost him some money.
Or he'd had too much to drink.
Or he'd had too much to drink and, fell asleep, which actually was what happened. So after about maybe 2 hours driving around, wondering what to do, we did what any good British person does and go to the bar. So we sat in the bar and had a drink, and finally we got through to him. And he came to see us. So we're sitting in the bar having a drink, and we told him that the both motels were full, and was there another motel? And sure enough, the nearest hotel was probably 30 miles away. So we said that's not an option. So he made a phone call to one of his friends, and his friend said yes, no problem. He had a trailer that we could stay in for the evening. So we went and did a little shopping, got some beer, and headed out. And we followed KC off into the woods, and then more woods, and down tracks, and through rivers and all sorts. And we ended up at his friend's house. Well, say house, his friend's trailer. And it was a big trailer next to a little trailer. And we've been told that the small trailer that we could stop in was new. It actually was new to his friend, but it was about 30 years old. So it wasn't that new to anyone. And they were a little bit hilly-billy redneck types. They had the fire going on in the middle of the lawn, and they're all sitting around the fire. Nice people, but they did raise a few eyebrows. The grandmother was sitting there, and she was smoking cigarettes and sucking on an oxygen bottle at the same time. She didn't say a lot, and her husband said even less. He looks a bit traumatised. I don't know if he'd been in the military or something, but he stared into the distance. Maybe too much LSD or something in the 60s. I really don't know. But he was deep in thought for a long time. So yeah, it was good. They offered us food, and they cooked up a barbecue, but yeah, we didn't fancy the burnt offerings that were actually on the barbecue, so we passed on that. And it was all good. And they had a big Rottweiler that took a liking to me. He kept jumping up on me, muddy paws on my jeans, biting my arm, slobbering all over me. I literally. Yeah, I was.
It's just getting more glamorous.
Yeah, I was pretty much covered in dog slobber.
The trip of your dreams.
Yeah, and there was nowhere to wash, no toilets.
No.
So the hospitality was fair, but yeah, it was a bit rough.
And what did your fishing experience end up with? Did you catch big?
No.
And what did you fish in?
Well, basically, what happened? That evening we retired quite early, as you would, and I wrapped myself very tight in the blanket that night for fear of creepy crawlies, spiders, snakes, you name it. Who knew what was in the trailer? And we didn't want to find out. So yeah, we'd only got the lights from our phones, which was probably a good thing, because when we woke up in the morning, it looked like a bomb site in there. So yeah. Anyway, that following morning, we got up. It was a beautiful morning, and our friend KC turned up in his pickup truck. That had seen better days also, with his dog in the front seat.
The crazy Rottweiler?
Yeah, well, no, it was a different.
Oh, it's a new dog.
It was like a golden retriever type, we call them, a Labrador. So we hopped in the. We thought we were going to go and sit in the cab, But as we found out, the dog sits in the cab, the passengers sit in the back. So now we're travelling back through the forest, dusty tracks, everything, bouncing up and down, hanging on for dear life, back to Casey's house. Now, he dug himself quite a large pond in his garden, and there were certain birds that were stealing his fish. So he came out of his house with a shotgun, which really to us is very surprising because we're not allowed guns in the UK. So, but Fred, he's actually a member of a gun club, my colleague. So I said, well, you can have the shotgun because I don't know which end is which. And Casey said, well, if there's any birds on the pond stealing the fish, feel welcome to shoot at them. So I crept up this bank behind Fred and we got to the top, and I knew Fred liked shooting, but he was like quick draw McGraw. He pulled the trigger, shot the bird before all of this happened, and I freaked out because I'm not used to shotguns or people shooting things or anything like that. So that was quite an eye opener. I said, okay, so we're going to do some fishing. He said, yeah. So we got the fishing rods, or poles as you call them, put them in the back. We jumped in the back again. The dog got in the front, and off we set to catch some monster fish, as I thought. Not the case. He kept pulling up in very small creeks on the bridges of the creeks, and we must have visited 20 spots, and there was only one spot with some very small fish. I believe you call them sucker fish. Well, yeah, the only sucker there was me. So I managed to catch 2 sucker fish about 3 inches long, and that was pretty much my experience of my hunting and fishing in. It is a very nice countryside, but yeah.
I can't wait till you go back. Next time you go, make sure I have fair warning so I don't miss any of the glamorous excitement.
Yes, that is. It's something I won't forget in a hurry. An experience to say the least.
Well, thank you, Mark. That was delicious, and I'm sure the fish was too.
Oh, yes, thank you very much.
Okay, my dear.
Strutting by the pool room, small fry.
Well, I'm having a good time here in Malvern. I think I'll continue to have a little more fun. I'm going to sign off now from Spider's Web, and we'll have more fun next time. Keep partying.
For a penny, small fry, counting up how many.